the castle stood silent. The queen was gone, vanquished by Snow White's newfound power. Yet victory felt like ash in her mouth. The magic that now pulsed in her veins was a living thing, seductive and cold. It whispered promises of dominion, of a power that could reshape the very fabric of the kingdom. But at what cost? Snow White could feel the shadows lengthening within her, a reflection of the magic she now commanded. The mirror, once the queen's insidious confidant, now lay shattered on the floor, a symbol of broken vanity, yet its fragments still seemed to whisper her stepmother's chilling pronouncements. The fairest of them all, the shards seemed to mock, their sharp edges reflecting Snow White's own troubled gaze. She was alone, the weight of the crown heavier than she could have imagined. Word of the queen's demise spread like wildfire, reaching the ears of a prince far different from the one in fairy tales. This prince was not a savior clad in shining armor, but a figure cloaked in shadows. He rode a steed as black as night, its hooves barely disturbing the dust as it carried him towards the silent castle. His eyes, the color of a storm-ridden sky, held a flicker of something ancient and hungry. He had heard whispers of the magic that now resided within the castle walls, whispers of the young queen consumed by a power both terrifying and alluring. It called to something deep within him, a dormant force that mirrored Snow White's own. This was not a man drawn by tales of beauty, but by the intoxicating aroma of shared ambition. The prince, you see, craved not just a throne, but the power to command destinies. Their first encounter was not a meeting of souls, but a clash of kindred spirits. Snow White, standing on the balcony, felt a chill wind stir as the prince dismounted, his eyes locking onto hers with unnerving intensity. He did not bow, did not offer platitudes. There was a darkness in his gaze that mirrored her own. It was the understanding that passed between predators, a silent acknowledgement of shared hunger. "You felt it too," Snow White whispered, her voice barely audible above the wind. The prince merely nodded, a slow, deliberate movement that spoke volumes. The pull of this magic, it changes everything. He finally spoke, his voice a low rumble that seemed to vibrate in the air between them. And together he continued, taking a step closer. "We can shape it." He didn't propose love, not in the traditional sense. Theirs was a pact forged in ambition and fueled by the dark magic that pulsed within them both. He spoke of shared dominion, of a kingdom ruled not by love but by an iron fist cloaked in shadow. He offered her not a rose but a promise of power unlike any other. Snow White, no longer the naive girl who sought refuge in the forest, recognized the seductive allure of his words. The dwarfs, those simple creatures of the woods, could never understand the depths of her desires. They represented a past she no longer recognized, a past that now felt suffocating in its simplicity. With a heart made cold by magic and ambition, Snow White accepted the prince's proposal, their fingers intertwined, not in a gesture of love, but in a pact of power. Their courtship was a dance of shadows and whispers. They moved through the castle, not as lovers, but as conspirators, plotting to secure their hold on the kingdom. The dwarves, sensing the shift in Snow White, watched from the shadows, their jovial faces now creased with worry. Their simple world of good and evil had been irrevocably disrupted, replaced by a chilling ambiguity they could not comprehend. Snow White, however, paid them little heed. The dwarfs, in their innocence, represented a past she was determined to shed. They were remnants of a fairy tale she no longer believed in, a naive dream that had turned to dust. The prince, with his sharp mind and even sharper ambition, understood her desires in a way the dwarfs never could. He was her equal, her confidant in this new world of power and darkness. As their bond deepened, so too did the darkness within the castle walls. The magic they wielded was a double-edged sword, granting them power while simultaneously corrupting everything it touched. The kingdom, once a place of vibrant life, began to reflect the chilling ambition of its new rulers. Theirs was a dangerous game, a dance on the razor's edge of destruction. Yet neither Snow White nor the prince seemed willing or perhaps even able to stop. They were caught in a whirlwind of their own making, their destinies intertwined with the dark magic they now commanded. The consequences of their ambition, however, loomed large, threatening to consume not only their souls, but the very kingdom they sought to rule.